I'm Ruben Statham, founder of Pro Stringer, the world's smallest racket string machine. Weighing in at only 2 kgs or 4.4 pounds, this makes Pro Stringer the most portable and efficient way to string a racket. With added technology such as constant pull tensioning, this ensures the perfect tension in your racket every time. Today I have with me ATP Tour title holder and Davis Cup player Marcus Daniel, and he's going to show us how easy it is to string with Pro Stringer. Thanks for coming out, Marcus.
Nice to be here, Ruben. Before I found Pro Stringer, every time I went to a different tournament, I had a different tension in my rackets, and also I was spending a lot of money. Now that I have Pro Stringer, I have the same tension in my rackets every time I play, and believe me, that gives me a lot of confidence when I'm out on court. The first thing you need to do to set up the Pro Stringer machine is attach the table clamp to the table. You do this by screwing the piece at the bottom. Make it quite tight. This piece is the pole. The next thing you need to do is attach the pole to the table clamp. To do this, simply screw it in. And once again, finish tightly. This is the two-piece racket bar. To attach the two pieces, have both points facing upwards and simply slide together. After that, it sits easily on the top of the pole. Now, it's time to mount the racket onto the racket bar. In order to do this, put the throat end of the racket where the adjustment knob is on the racket bar and center it on the racket bar. Once you have it centered, use the adjustment knob and make the racket bar sit tightly against the frame of the racket. To make it clearer for you, this is a close-up of the final step of mounting the racket onto the racket bar. You want to use the adjustment knob to make the racket bar sit flush against the frame of the racket, like this. Once you've mounted the racket on the racket bar, now it's time to secure the racket to the racket bar. In order to do this, first take a frame retainer and put it onto the frame of the racket on one of the points. After you've done that, take a butterfly screw and screw it on, making it fairly tight. We do this at both ends, so again, first the frame retainer and then the butterfly screw, making it nice and tight. Your racket should feel secure against the racket bar. Once your racket is set up, now it's time to plug the Pro Stringer in. To do this, you have a power cord. One side of the power cord goes into the power point, the other side plugs into the Pro Stringer, like this. Once you're plugged into the power point on the wall, now it's time to attach to the Pro Stringer itself. In order to do this, line up the two holes on the power plug with the two pins on the Pro Stringer machine. Plug in and then screw the safeguard shut. If you've done this correctly, you should notice a bright red power light shining on top of the Pro Stringer machine. Once your Pro Stringer is turned on and the red light is shining, it's now time to select your preferred tension. In order to do this, simply twist the tension knob on the side of the Pro Stringer towards your desired tension, which is scaled in pounds on the side of your machine. Another great thing about Pro Stringer is that this setup generally takes less than a minute, and now you're ready to string your racket. First, we're going to string the mains. In order to do this, simply take both ends of your main string and thread it through the central holes at the top of your racket. Once this is done, take the string and thread it through the corresponding holes at the bottom of your racket. Once you've done that, all you need to do is pull the string evenly through the bottom of your throat until the string is tight. Once you've done that, you'll see that you have two clamps of different thicknesses. Take the thicker clamp, open it, and clamp the two middle strings. Now it's time to weave the string. What you need to do is choose a side of the racket and pick up the string that's associated with it. Thread the string through the hole at the bottom of the racket and then through the corresponding hole at the top of the racket. Then pull the string through, leaving a little bit of slack in the first hole you put it through. Repeat this process as much as you can until the string runs out, always leaving slack at the end of the racket. Once you've threaded as much of the string as you can on one side, simply complete the same process for the other side. When you have threaded the string through as far as you can, now it's time to tension. In order to do this, take the first string that you threaded through the racket and pick it up. Take the Pro Stringer machine and place it flush against the frame of the racket, keeping in mind that the string has to go directly through the middle of the string guide. Now, in my experience, with every other electronic machine, I've actually had to wrap this string once around the tensioner before putting it through. However, with Pro Stringer, all you need to do is put the string once diagonally through the tensioner and you're ready to go. After you've done that, simply push this blue button and wait for the green light to illuminate. Once the green light has illuminated, you will know you're at your correct tension. With that green light staying on, what you need to do is take your thinner clamp, open it up, and clamp between the two strings that are now tensioned. One important thing to remember is that you should always place the clamp as close as you can to the tensioner. And another thing, remember to always check that you are securely clamped before releasing the tension from the tensioner, as I'm about to do now. All I had to do was push the blue button, and as you can see, the light goes from green back to red, and you're ready to go again. Once you've released the string from the tension, what you need to do now is take the string out of the Pro Stringer, turn the racket around, and pull the slack down to the other end of the racket. Once you've done this, it's just a matter of repeating the tensioning and clamping process. Again, I've checked that my clamp is secure before releasing the tension. Now we're going to repeat the tensioning and clamping process until we've finished all of the mains. Now that you've tensioned and clamped all your mains, it's time to tie off with knots. Now those of you with fast eyes may have seen that the Pro Stringer can take a bit of abuse, and let me tell you that's more than handy when you're traveling all year round. Okay, in order to tie a knot, what you need to do is take one end of your main string and put it through the tie-off hole. If you need to find the tie-off hole on your racket, all you need to do is look for the grommet that is slightly larger than the rest. Once you've put your string through the tie-off hole and pulled it, to tie a knot, simply take the tip of your string, push it down on one side of the mains, bring it up the other side, and then put the tip through the loop that you've created. Once you've done that, tighten it a bit with your hands, and then use your pliers to pull the string firmly. Repeat this process twice so that the string doesn't slip out of the knot. I'm now going to demonstrate the tie-off process for you on the other side. Same again, the string goes through the tie-off hole and you pull it out the other side. Then the tip goes underneath the main, pops up the other side and goes through the loop that you've created, pulling that tight. Once you've done that, you'll see that you've created a loose knot, and to tighten that, pull firmly with the pliers. I'll do this process twice for safety. Again, pulling the second knot tight. And then, using simple nail clippers, or you can use the wire trimmers on your pliers, snip off the loose ends. And there you go, there are your mains. Now that your mains are all nice and tight, we want to start on the crosses. To do this, take your cross string and place it through the cross tie-off grommet. Once you have a decent amount of string to work with, you just need to repeat the tie-off process from the mains. By that, I mean tie a double knot. Once again, tightening with the pliers. Once you've tied the knot, all you need to do is take the other end of the cross string and place it through the first grommet hole. Once you've done that, take a decent amount of string and start threading one over and one under the mains. Once you've reached the other side of the racket, what you need to do is take that same cross string and thread it through the corresponding grommet hole on the other side. Once it's through the other side, pull the string until it's taut. Once again, it's time for tensioning. Place the string guide flush against the flame of the racket, place the string diagonally through the tensioner, and press the blue button, and you'll see that it turns green. It's time for the second string, and this is simply a matter of repeating the process. Put the string through the grommet hole, pull a decent amount through, and start weaving one over and one under the mains. Do this until you reach the other side of the racket and thread the string through the corresponding hole on the other side. Pull the string through the racket until it's nice and tight, and then once again you're ready for tensioning. Put the pro stringer flush against the racket, string through the tensioner, and there you go. Before I clamp, I'd like to show you a piece of pro stringer technology we like to call constant pull tension. This function means the machine is constantly adjusting, ensuring that each string is tensioned accurately, resulting in a perfectly strung racket. Now if you watch closely, you'll see the tensioner move slightly. This slight adjustment by the tensioner compensated for the lack of tension in the string and once again made the tension perfect. Now all we need to do is clamp the string and we're ready to weave. Now that you've woven your crosses, it's time once again to tension. This is the same process as with the mains. Simply take the string, put the pro stringer next to the frame and press the blue button. Once again, you want to clamp the two strings that are tensioned. I'm now going to tension the rest of the crosses while you watch. As you can see, we've woven the rest of the crosses, and once again, we're ready for tensioning. Now that you've finished tensioning your racket, it's time to tie the final knot. To do this, take the tension off the string, move the pro stringer away, and repeat the same process as with the first knots. Put the string through the grommet hole, go down one side of the main, come up the other side, and put the string through the loop that you've created. Once again, use the pliers to tighten that string, and repeat the process. Down one side of the main, up the other side, and through the loop. And once again, tighten with the pliers. Once you've finished tying your double knot, cut the excess off with your nail clippers, take the clamp off, and you're done. Now that you've finished stringing your racket, it's time to dismount the racket from the racket bar. In order to do this, simply unscrew the butterfly screws, take off the frame retainers, and take the racket off the racket bar. And you're ready to play some tennis.
Well, it's as easy as that. Thank you, Marcus, for coming out and showing us how it's done on the Pro Tour.
It's my pleasure, Ruben. And I'd just like to say I did this whole job sitting down and it took me less than 20 minutes. But, most importantly, I have the perfect tension.
Another job well done by the Pro Stringer.